So you want to not make the mistake of trying to be everything to everybody, and you want to figure out your niche, your differentiating point, and shine with that.
Hi, Chef. My name is Diana, and today we're joined by Chef Nina Curtis, former director and executive chef at Adventist Health Vitalis Cafe, executive chef at the ranch at Live Oak, Malibu, and chief nutrition officer for the Ranch Daily. Chef Nina has established herself as a leader in the plant-based culinary culture, even curating the first ever plant-based menu for a White House state dinner invited by First Lady Dr. Jill Biden. Join us as Chef Nina shares her valuable insights on creating a brand that truly reflects your essence and attracts the right audience.
Carefully creating your brand as a private chef is so important and impactful. It sets the tone for everything you're going to do. Branding is a part of marketing, right? But when we niche it down to ourselves, we're really the product. And I think a lot of times chefs and private chefs think the food is the product. But the first thing someone buys from us is us. I come across professionally, not too familiar, but engaging and relatable and approachable. I've created my brand around that. And everything else I do, from my visuals, my logo, my business card, even my color schemes, fit that tone. And I'm a plant-based chef, so the branding, I have to consider all that. And I really recommend people doing vision boards so that you can put things as you think you appear. Whether it's on social media or you're going to the guest home, your client's home, all of these things need to be synergistic. I think one of the key elements is storytelling. What's your story? What's your unique story? What differentiates you from everyone else in the sea of, I'm going to say, chefdom? Often we get caught up in thinking we're competing with someone else that's similar to us, but they don't have our story. They don't have our journey. There's no imposter syndrome here. How do you want to authentically and engagingly and compassionately show up? Because I feel as chefs, we cook with our hearts. This is not easy work. So we have to really be a little bit crazy to want to do this work and really want to please others. My tagline is, I feed people food to live for, not to die for. And that gets people thinking, what is she talking about? But so often I hear somebody go, I would rather die than give up my, you fill in the blank. And as a plant-based chef, that is my mission, to show people that they can enjoy food. They can enjoy their cultural food, but they should want to live for it, not die for it. Your element, your visual elements should be the same, that tell a little something about you, that in line or connect with your story. So it's very conducive. It's not confusing in the client's mind when they look at us on the website or our social media or when they actually meet us, right? When we come out of, say, culinary school and when we've worked our way up through a restaurant, we kind of take on that ethos of how our culinary school taught us or the restaurant that we came up in. And as moving into being a private chef, you have the ability to shine. You're the star. You're who they're buying. I find new chefs will try to be everything to everybody. I can do it all. No, even if you can, that is not what you want to do, because you'll be cast into this sea of every other chef. So you want to not make the mistake of trying to be everything to everybody, and you want to figure out your niche, your differentiating point and shine with that. I think another thing is being a little inconsistent, because as new private chefs, we're trying to get our grounding and our footing. And so we're trying out a lot of different things, because maybe in the mind, it's like, I'm just going to throw a lot up against the wall and see what will stick. Well, do that in your own privacy. Figure out how to do that, whether it's bringing friends over and doing, a little market research with those that will be sometimes painfully honest to you before you try to go out to a client and try something new. I have a 25-time rule, meaning if I have a new recipe or a new dish or a new idea, I'm going to figure out 25 ways to put it into practice before I launch it to the world and then can't retract it if it doesn't work. Now, I'm not perfect and everything doesn't go the way I plan, but stay ready so you don't have to get ready. So I can talk from experience. Don't try to be everything to everybody. While I've niched down my specialty as a plant-based chef, which is a smaller niche, I had to pull back and say, but what differentiates me? I still had to assess and audit the competition and feel very comfortable in the skin that I sit in and the way I represent. I think another thing I did was maybe sometimes trying to overplease. Don't sacrifice your authenticity and your ethos and your ethics for a client's request. They may think you're going to come in and clean their kitchen before you start cooking. And there's no problem with me going in and cleaning a kitchen when I'm paid for that. But I'm not being paid for that. So stand on your ethics, stand on the way in which you work, but do that by having a guideline so our clients can know what to expect. And as a new private chef, I think we go in and we'll do those things that we wouldn't normally do, but we don't want to miss the business, or we don't want to miss a good testimonial. Be mindful of our message, be mindful of our thought, always have dignity with what we do. We can be fun, we can be engaging, it's not boring, but we have to think a little bit ahead, as I said, as what product are we presenting? And the first product is us, hands down. And then everything else follows. I think also building and getting that first testimonial. Every time you go in, have your form or have something you can send in 24 hours to your last event, to your last private dinner, and ask for their feedback, but also ask if you can use their feedback, when good, as a testimonial, because testimonials and word of mouth will be one of the largest and most successful marketing tools you'll have. Maintaining our brand consistency and integrity is always measuring. What gets measured gets done, and what we plan for allows us to have success. That saying, fail to plan, plan to fail, that still stands true. Every time I have an event, every time I do a private dinner, I am measuring it when I leave. In 24 hours, I have written down all the things that I thought were successful, all the things I think I could do better, all the ways I could prepare the guests to have a better experience. We are constantly doing that. We're not waiting a month from now to look back what we did last month. It's much easier to take an audit of the business after each event and create a form so you can just, write and answer your questions that are consistent, but from 1 month to 3 months to 6 months to a year to 5 years, you have a really great audit file of how you've grown, where some things didn't go as you thought they would. I think social media, we can all agree, has flipped the switch. It's hard to be in business as a private chef and not identify not just your brand position, but your social media position. So you take your brand position and you look at, where do I want to show up on social media? Again, it's not trying to be everything to everybody. Find the platforms that best represent you and allow you to really shine as the expert in your niche with what you do. So maybe pick three. Pick three that you want to be good at. The three I'm on mostly are Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. And while I'll take a certain content, I will adjust it to speak to those different audiences because they are different. You don't have to have this crystal clear, professionally done editing. Actually, some cases are showing that isn't as attractive to our audience. They want to see some bloopers. They want to see that we're human and not bots. I think that social media is a great tool for us, but we have to manage it. Like anything else, we have to manage it. AI is here to stay. So figure out how you can use AI. I'll write something out for a caption on Instagram and I'll put it into AI or Chat GPT just to get it clear and concise, because my ideas can just run rapid and I need to hone them in so the person reading it or seeing it can clearly understand and it doesn't sound like I'm rambling. I've already gone into a mindset of what's the potential of me being able to do everything we've talked about here and get new business. Always be on, always be excited, and always keep challenging yourself to be better than your best. Hello, I'm Chef Nina Curtis. I want to thank you for joining us. I'd love to hear your feedback on what you've been able to take away and what you feel you can put into practice. Be sure to follow us on all social media channels. They will be in the content if you don't know exactly where we are and how far our reach is. And I just wish you success in all your endeavors.
Thank you so much for joining us today. Building your brand from scratch might seem like a daunting task, but it's essential for standing out in your market and, most importantly, a brand that expresses who you are, what you do, and what you stand for. If you found this video helpful, please hit the like button and subscribe to our channel for more chef interviews like this one. Also, check out our Private Chef School episode on brand creation for some tips and tricks to help you in this journey. I'll see you next time. If you enjoyed this video, remember to like and subscribe and hit the bell to get alerts every time we upload a new video. I'll see you next time.